Hi, good afternoon, my friends. Good afternoon from the East Coast of the United States. And I know I haven't been as diligent in my postings as I was before, and there are many reasons. First of all, I'm on a book tour right now, and I'm still in the middle of it. I've been traveling the country talking about the healing self, a revolutionary new plan to supercharge your immunity and stay well for life, my book with Rudy Tanzi. And I'm glad to tell you that it's on every national bestseller list, thanks to all of you and your support. So I have a break now today and tomorrow, and then I resume. I'll be going to Miami. I'm doing the Lake Nona Forum and on and on. So lots to do. So I'm also, by the way, writing a new book. It's called Meta-Human, Awakening to Reality. And I'm keeping up with my daily meditations, my daily yoga practice, making sure I get good sleep, and that I engage in a manner that creates relevance for everyone, including myself, and that I stay resilient, because when you're on the road every day, things change, and sometimes you're on the runway for many hours, flights get cancelled and rescheduled, on and on. So I am busy. Patricia Smith says you're too busy. Actually, I would like to correct that and say my body and my mind is busy, but I remain grounded in what is called equanimity, peace, and centered awareness, which helps me to also tap into my intuition and creativity and higher vision for all of us. So much for the update. Now let me tell you what I've been thinking about today and share it with you, and that is how to be a creator of reality. Now when I say how to be a creator of reality, I'm also talking about creator of experienced reality, creator of everyday reality. I'm not talking about how to be a creator of fundamental reality, because fundamental reality is the nature of our being, and that's who we are. And fundamental reality is pure consciousness, which is a field of all possibilities. Fundamental reality is non-locally correlated with all that exists, everything that we can call the universe, mind and body, all one interconnected, inter-arising, inseparable wholeness. So that's fundamental reality. Fundamental reality is also unpredictable and therefore creative. If it was predictable, it would not be creative. And fundamental reality is the source of intention, attention, and is actually a formless field of awareness. And because it's formless, it's also infinite, non-local, and not in space-time. That's who we are. But now, let's see how we can take that fundamental reality, see what its raw materials are, and then how to create everything out of that, including the experience of that which we call the body-mind, because the body-mind is not who you are. The body-mind is just another experience in the same way, or maybe not in the same way, but it's another experience, like the experience of a book, or the experience of that painting, or the experience of those bar stools, or the experience of the window, or the experience of plants. So to this, and what this body-mind is thinking is also an experience. So when we say how to change reality, we are talking about changing experience in order to have what I've previously called the upgrade of the projection that we call everyday reality, including the health and well-being of that which we call our physical body. So what are the raw materials that are needed to create any reality? Well, the raw materials are first awareness, which is the fundamental ground of existence. I've already told you what the qualities of awareness are: pure consciousness, infinite correlation, non-locality, unpredictability, creativity, source of intention, attention. We've just said that. Now, the raw materials of that are the modulations of that. So the modulations of that are perceptual experiences, the five senses. But our body is also a perceptual experience because you experience it through your senses. Okay, so I include that. Perceptual experiences, sound, touch, sight, taste, smell, the physical body and all its sensations that it's experiencing, but it's actually the realization that the body is not the container of awareness, but an experience of awareness. And so, five senses, the body, the mental space of thoughts, feelings, emotions, memories, desires, imagination, attention, intention, and then the entire web of relationship. All these are the raw materials of consciousness that allow us to experience anything. We call experience, we name experience as things: the book, a hand, a body, a painting, etc. But before we can objectify it as experience or before we can objectify is at a thing as an object, it's actually an experience in our consciousness. And the experience is just those raw materials: sensations, images, feelings, thoughts. And when I say sensations, I mean sense perceptions. These are the raw materials of experience. But then there is another experience that we call thought. So thought is the interpretation of experience, and there's another experience that we call feeling or emotion, which is the liking or disliking of experience. And then, of course, thought is an interpretation of experience, but then thought creates its own systems like philosophy, theology, religion, science, mythology. Okay, so those are systems of thought created as a result of thought, which is a modified form of awareness or consciousness, which is interpretation of experience, which is sense perceptions, images, and then, of course, feelings. Okay, so these are the raw materials out of which everything is made, whether it's a book or a hand or a watch or these glasses or this face or this hair. Those are human constructs for basically raw materials congealed as experienced objects. But I've already said that the experienced objects are experiences before, and even though experienced objects are forms, and that they seem to have a form, a shape, a color, a texture, a smell, in fact, every form is a phenomenon, and every phenomenon is just the modulation of awareness, knowing itself as the process of knowing, and that which we call the known. Now, because of systems of thought, we can use this raw material to actually have any experience. We can create philosophy, theology, religion, science, and art and music, and theater and drama, and cinema and technology. But the raw material is still the same. Okay. Now, if you objectify the experience as an object, then we can also create a way of studying the object. On a gross level, we can create a system of studying the object as a thing, and then looking at the laws that govern its momentum, the laws that govern the relationship between mass, position, momentum, etc. This is usually the realm of classical physics. But we can go even deeper. We can actually, having created this objective universe, which it isn't, the objective universe of matter is an interpretation of experience. Having created the objective universe of created objects, then we can break them down, and we can basically create other systems of thought which are finer scientific systems of thought, saying mass is energy, energy is information, and ultimately, of course, energy, mass, information is the modulation of awareness anyway. Okay, so awareness is modulating itself as the constructs, energy, information, space-time, gravity, the whole bit. Once we understand this, then there's a process for creating anything what you want. Just decide what you want to create. Okay, and it could be creating good health. It could be reversing some of the biological markers of aging, which I have done myself. It could be creating a beautiful new relationship. It could be creating a new design, a piece of music, art, poetry, a painting, a sculpture. Doesn't matter. What is your desire? What is your intention? And then you could also apply the same principle for creating technology, an ecosystem, ultimately even the extensions of our technology like VR, virtual reality and augmented reality, and probes that go into space, and exploring of Mars and exoplanets, and on and on. There's no limit to our creativity, because consciousness, which is the source of all creativity, is infinite. And infinite means infinite, no limitations. So now I have to fulfill my obligation to Facebook for providing me this platform, and so I'll come back in 15 seconds. Here I am back, okay? So now I've talked in great detail about the raw materials of experience and how to create anything out of those raw materials. But now let's take it one step further. What is creativity? Well, fundamental creativity is creating a new context, a new set of relationships, new meanings, new set of purposes, and a new story. That's fundamental creativity. There's situational creativity, which means you basically change the experience a little bit for yourself, but it's not fundamental. It's not something that didn't exist before, something that didn't exist before. So fundamental creativity is something that didn't exist before. New meaning, new context, new purpose, new set of relationships, or new modification of the same set of relationships, new context, new archetypes, and ultimately a new story. New story. Fundamental creativity. New wine in a new flask. Not new wine in an old flask. Totally new. Actually, birth is that kind of fundamental creativity. What we call reincarnation is that kind of creativity. When the same consciousness recycles as new meaning, new context, new relationships, new purpose, new archetypes, and new story. So death and resurrection are fundamental creativity. Death and reincarnation are same thing, fundamental creativity. Death is the dying out or the settling down of all experience into pure consciousness, incubating there with the seeds of memory, desire, and experience, allowing the proliferation of uncertainty, and then having a new insight which leads to inspiration and ultimately leads to incarnation. Incarnation of a new story, a new meaning, a new context, a new purpose, new archetypes, new relationships. And there you are. The same core being, same core consciousness, expressing something that never existed before. So in order to harness this kind of creativity, and I've talked about this in other situations, there are 9 steps. Number 1, intended outcome. So you should be able to visualize the intended outcome, but also feel it, experience it emotionally, taste it, smell it, sense it, touch it, hear it, whatever applies through all the 5 senses. That's the intended outcome in your vision. Imagination usually refers to images, but imagination is all the raw materials I've already spoken about. Intended outcome. The second step is called information gathering, relevant to the intended outcome. The third step is analyzing the information. So intended outcome, information gathering, analyzing the information. The fourth step is incubation, allowing the mind to settle down into pure awareness. This is best done through meditation, but it's also done through mindful awareness, metacognition, which means being aware of sensory experience as it happens, and also being aware of choices as they are made, being aware of what's happening inside your body as a gut level, something called introception, being aware of the web of relationship, being aware of mental space, and being aware of the story that you're creating. So that's step number 4, incubation. Incubation allows the proliferation of uncertainty, which is the raw material for the creative leap that we call insight. So insight is a consequence of incubation and settling down in the unpredictable womb of pure creativity. So that is incubation, which leads to the 5th step, which is insight. And insight is a quantum leap already. Quantum leap, a new story is happening, and it results in that quantum leap of insight or creativity leads to inspiration. Inspiration, the word implies to be in spirit. Inspiration leads to implementation. You try out everything you've come up with, and then that implementation leads to integration. The old story dies, but as the new story is emerging, there has to be integration between mind, body, spirit, and the unified experience that we call the universe. And then finally, that leads to incarnation. If you want, even call it reincarnation, death and resurrection. Those are the basics of creativity. And you can create anything you want, by the way, depending on your proclivities and your tendencies and your desires, your attention, and the quality of your intention. That's it. So I'm done with today's ideas on creativity, and I'm looking at some of your comments. Victoria Khan says, Integration is the ultimate. Okay, Victoria, thank you. Madeline Lozada says thank you. I say thank you. Aaron ought want to create happiness. By the way, I am coming to Prague in the summer, Aaron, so see you there. Joanne Cooper says, love you all. Same to you, Joanne. And Marie says, hi. Hi. And all of you are saying wonderful things. Helena Christina Silva Lessa says, but the Buddha says no desire. Well, that can be an outcome. It can't be forced. Detachment comes naturally when we fulfill our desires. It also comes naturally when we transcend and transmute our desires. It also comes naturally when our desires move from being totally selfish to doing things for the greater good. But desire itself is pure potentiality seeking manifestation. Without desire, no manifestation. Okay, take care and God bless, and I'll be back and hopefully more regularly. And once again, the book is out there and it's doing well thanks to your support. And let me know if you read it, what insights you may have to share. All of you seem very happy and supportive. So, wishing you all a wonderful, happy day. Ursula says, come to Poland. I was there once, and hopefully I will be there soon. Romy asked a question, synchronicity. Yeah, synchronicity is the mechanics, actually, of pure creativity. Okay, bye-bye. See you tomorrow or day after.